Good morning, everybody. I'm Jessica Ahlstrom, and I interrupt your regular scheduled Sunday morning programming to give you a very important world message. I am going to be doing a series of videos for you called How to Raise Your Vibration. And basically, if you are aware right now, you can see that the world is changing right in front of your eyes. Your stability, your safety, your safe spaces, as you have probably known them and been holding on to them for a while, whether it's your religious space, your meditation space, your workspace, your money space, your health space. It's all kind of being dusted right now. And even those that are acting as gurus are probably like scratching their head. But we have been very aware of these changing times for a long, long time, especially those who have the direct connect to spirit, Jesus, to all that is, to God, to whatever you want to call that, the universe. And we are now kind of gearing up to become the best guides that we can. It is definitely the years of action. 23 is a very, very important biblical term in number. And if you've obviously read the Bible, you will see that reference many, many, many times. And here we are. Here we are in the end of times. You can't debate that. But we are also at the beginning of times. And I know that if you're, addicted to TikTok or Reels, you're probably terrifying yourself to sleep because, obviously the world has awakened thanks to COVID. Every negative is always a shortcut. And I need you to remember that when you are kind of looking around going, what is going on here? We got alien invasions, we got toxicity spilling over everywhere on the trains, we're terrified of our food supply and our water and our government. And I will tell you that as a teacher of non-duality, that does not serve you. All right. It's not about working harder. It's about working smarter. And that self-awareness journey that you have been working on for a long time, it needs to step to the forefront of your reality and really to understand that you are a vibrational being. And there is endless parallel realities. All right. There are numerous timelines. There is a holographic virtual reality game simulation that you are participating in. So take a breath and realize, okay, like this isn't my life. This isn't my world unless you're participating, unless you are vibrating in the same vibration. So here's where how to raise your vibration is going to be extremely important. And I want to poke around in the areas that maybe some other teachers are not highlighting right now, because, how to raise your vibration usually comes on the meditate, right? And like be in nature and all of those things are fabulous. But there are so many other ways that your vibration is low that is keeping you plugged in to this particular timeline that you're seeing, this particular reality that you're in, this particular game that you're stuck in, okay? You may not know how you are stuck in certain levels of your virtual reality game. And I want to take an opportunity to shoot several videos to give you guys the understanding of that you are not just a vibrational mind or a vibrational heart. You are so many different pieces that make up a whole. You are, body, mind, soul. All right. And therefore, I've always taught that me, myself, and I have a tendency to vibrate separation. Okay. And where there is separation, there is hunger. Okay. Where there is separation, there is fear. Where there is separation, there is uncertainty, right? Like, think about it. When you first feel about being separated from toilet paper back in the COVID days, right? When you feel separated from your mother as a child, when you feel separated from your partner, when you feel separate from knowing what's going on in your body, it ignites terror. All right. So I want to take this opportunity to go down into all the different layers that are vibrating currently in your holographic experience, and kind of remind you on a non-duality perspective how much power you really have right now. It may not feel like that. Okay. But again, every negative is a shortcut. So what I've been teaching in my non-duality masterclass this year is to look at every single thing that is happening, whether it's good or bad, as a fertilizer, okay, as a growing opportunity. Now you're thinking, okay, well, how do I grow if our food is poison? How do I grow if our water is poison? How do I grow? Right. Well, again, you are holographic in nature, and your vibration that you are emitting trumps every other vibration out there, unless you are a vibrational match to that. Okay. So I have broken down in notes. I don't usually do notes because, I just like to direct connect. But this particular set of videos, I would like to have more structured so that each item is allowing me to have that stream of consciousness for you. So obviously I've been teaching a lot about the divine feminine magnetism lately and the masculine empowerment. I've been teaching a lot about non-duality. Now, for those of you who are Christian and religious out there that might see, oh, she's an alchemist, she's dark. You have to understand that the idea of being on the leading edge and really taking all there is of the quantum sciences and the base point of understanding vibration in a godly mathematical equation is all about the Christed energy. Christed means anointed, right? So Christ, crystalline energy. This isn't about tarot cards and crystals. This is about the human soul that is basically working as one with its density parts to enlightenment, right? And I'm a lover of Jesus. Trust me, I've been working with Yahweh for my entire career. I don't separate myself into one belief system as church. If you are like me, the church might have hurt you just as badly as your parents did. So what you want to do is you want to find the understanding of your version of what God is, or the universe is, or whatever helps you feel the most connected and expanded and loved, and utilize that as a template for yourself right now. Okay. So there is no bad and good in the story of love. I'm sorry. And judgment is judgment, right? And separation is separation. And so as the alchemist, I work in non-separation and non-duality. That does not mean I'm pro-dark or pro-light even. It is the understanding that within the shadow that we can learn and remember that we are operating in the system of both. Your body that you're sitting in is density. And in order for you to be in a body, you have to slow your vibration all the way down so you can be seen. Okay. So anybody that's saying, oh, dark density is bad, is obviously not remembering that they're sitting in a body. Okay. So our job with non-duality is to understand and enlighten all of the parts of us that have been separated from source. Okay. Now, feminine energy, it resides to a closer harmonic frequency to source energy because of the womb, right? Masculine energy resides closer to density because of that, the way that their body is genetically structured. It does not mean that one has access to God and one does not, but it really is about understanding what you have to work with here. Because ultimately, whenever we're doing any sort of biohacking or healing work, we have to start with what is. Acceptance is another word of love, all right? Acceptance, understanding, right? And then when we can say, okay, this is what is vibrating right now. This is the life that I am living. This is the chaos I'm experiencing. This is where I feel separate. Well, it's in that time where you can be completely present to the story that is playing out so that you can change it. If you do not know where you are vibrating low right now, you're going to feel very confused by your spiritual knowledge because, what do you do when you love God, but you're seeing the world going to hell in a handbag? Well, the world as we know it has been governed by hell since way before we got here. Okay. And have you ever thought that maybe you were here, this kind, empathic, sensitive heart that you carry might be the solution, right? The solution to this, because again, right, it's like your job is to vibrate the frequency of love in the dark, right? Or the death. So what I've been teaching my non-duality class, like heavily the last few sessions, is to really understand that everything out in virtual reality is designed to program you to a vibration. Everything, okay? And let's take the first concept of how we're going to change our vibration here and look at language. Now, those of you who have studied NLP or who are intuitives, especially body intuitives, can feel the discord in the voice, in the language, and in the pronunciation and in the resistance. But when you look at the word, like especially like the English language and the idea of spelling, right? So language spoken or read has a frequency, right? And some of the words are designed to lower your frequency, and some of the words are designed to raise your frequency, obviously, because it is non-duality. So look at that word like spelling, okay? And now look at information, information. We're in formation when we have information, okay? Look at the word responsibility, the ability to respond, right? Intimacy, into me I see. Imagination, I am imagining my nation, right? Like politics is like a magician, right? So when you look at language, how you speak, how you are spoken to has a tuning fork reaction. Bottom line, I have been life coaching for 12 years, and I am a medical intuitive as well as other kinds of intuitives. And so when someone tells me something, I'm usually hearing 3 different discords and connections within their speech. How are you doing? I'm okay, right? So I can see that how they're vibrating may not be within their vibrational awareness. Now, obviously, the more present you are, the more you can be aware of how language triggers you. But a lot of the times, language is triggering you back into the past. It's triggering you in the forward motion, which leaves the second version of what I want to talk about for raising vibration. You guys know I'm an avid biohacker, and I am creating biohacking studios all over the planet for this reason, the times that we're in right now. Look at that idea of resonance. Okay, look at the idea of resonance and look at the idea of that, breaking that word up. Resonates, resonance, resident. Okay, look at this, like break this up here. So when you are asking, then if you were asking to manifest something or asking God to help you or praying, and you're using a separation in your asking, well, the universe is going to give you a feedback mirror of that separation. All right. So when you desire something, it's usually coming from a fact that you have not manifested or embodied that desire yet. So when you're asking, right, what a better way to ask for your manifestation is to say, this resonates with me, right? You're saying, I am a match to this, instead of I need this, which I'm not a match to and I need, or I want this, which means that I desire but can't have. All right. So when you say I resonate, okay, then you are implying that your heart's desire is the frequency that you desire, and it will be a clear path. Okay, so that is one tip in raising your vibration, is really pay attention to your language. Language, how people are speaking to you and putting you under spell, or how you are speaking to yourself. Okay, this is going to help you be more present. Pay attention to language. Obviously, we're working on this in our non-duality class because there are very triggering words that trigger the subconscious mind, the subconscious body, the 75 trillion cells that you are the mayor, the God, the house of, are listening and deciding what that means. So obviously the virtual reality game that you're sitting in, that was built before you came, all right, had a very specific way to trance you, and that is language, all right, especially English. And notice how English is the one common denominator that the whole planet seems to identify with. Isn't that interesting? Because the English language was created for a purpose of spellings. All right, just look at that. Okay, so number one is obviously, let me get my notes out here, is to pay attention, all right, to all of your vibration, right? Like, very important. It's not just what you think. Remember, your conscious awareness is only 5% of you. And what your conscious awareness really is, it's the you want to be. It's the you want to believe you are. And it is the you that you believe you are. It does not mean that that is what you're vibrating. Okay. If you look around right now and you are lacking or separate or missing something that your heart's desiring, then that 5% of you is literally in a disillusion of who and what you are vibrating as. It doesn't mean that you are separate and dark and all these things. It just means that, again, it's acceptance. Like, this mirrored consciousness that I'm in is a feedback. It's constantly showing me where I am vibrating. So what I am seeing, what I am hearing, what I am feeling, what I am thinking, that's all vibration. All right. So paying attention to different vibrational structures that hold you together is going to help you with this big reset. Okay. You've all been hearing about this big reset, this big reset, this big reset. Now, it's going to happen. Now, depending on what timeline you are on is how you will experience this. How high your vibration is will determine the reality that you shift into holistically, all of you, right? You can't just go with your mental awareness that you are spirit or that you are spiritual, okay? You can't have judgment for other people and get to 5D, right? So one thing to pay attention to, and I have been teaching this forever, is the kingdom of heaven is within you. It is not a place you go to work. It is not a place that, or a person that loves you. It is not something you do in physical reality. It is something that you become, right? This is your home, the house of God, right? You are the spark, the fractal of God. Remember my disco ball analogy, okay? The disco ball represents God. It says, hey, I would really like to experience myself in multiple different ways. So it explodes, okay? And now each mirrored perspective has a mirror reflection on one side and an opaque on the other side. And you are sitting in both. You are the prism, the mirror, and you are the density. You absorb the light and you reflect the light. And you are having a physical experience, but you are no less God than a drop of the ocean water being the ocean. You may feel separate. You may feel like God is up here. And maybe because it's a bigger version of what you are experiencing in the smallness of yourself, but ultimately you are the same ingredient, you are the same fabric, you are the same form, You have all of the same abilities and knowledge if you get rid of the separation. Okay, so let's go back to that idea of a resonance, resonates, okay, and residence. This is your residence. So when you are not home, when you are not in your body, who's there, right? Who is there? So this happens a lot in the spiritual community. You have a discord in your body. It doesn't feel good. It's holding trauma from childhood. It's holding weird cravings or pain or stiffness or old injuries that haven't been truly healed. It's got blocks of energy and oxygen that are not flowing. It's full of parasites and heavy metals. This is not going to want you to be at home. Like when you're at home and your house is dirty, you don't want to be there. So a lot of the times you'll search for the higher vibrational feeling and you'll be ahead of yourself, which means I don't want to be home. I want to be somewhere that's high vibe. I want to be, in my spiritual studies or in a trance meditation or taking some sort of medicine so I don't have to experience it. And then what happens is when you come home, it feels even dirtier because you've just experienced the bliss and it makes you not want to be here. So my biohacking career has existed because I am helping spiritual people get home. You've got to be in this body. The kingdom of heaven is within you, which means your spaceship or your pod that you're going to be using to jump timelines and quantum leap is going to be me, myself, and I, me in my body representing the spark of God that will turn on Kundalini energy, activate higher levels of DNA, spark the pineal energy so that I become the source, the embodiment, the Christed influence of my thought, words, and deeds matching. Okay, so just take a moment right now and think about the words that you speak. Do they match the actions you take? And do they match the reality that you are living? Okay, like just notice those three. Those are the obvious separations. Those are the obvious separations. Anywhere you are separate from yourself, that part of you will be grounded. It will be grounded, which means it's stuck looking outside going, is that a UFO? That part of you is not integrated in. All right. So if that part's not integrated in, then it's stuck here, separate. Okay. And it doesn't know where you are. So it's looking for someone to guide it. Right. Me, myself, and I. The myself is the body, the 75 plus trillion cells that make up the community of you going, who's in charge here? Right. And then the me is the separated ego identity that was created from your first 7 years where you were taught to separate. Someone has to be managing and parenting there. And normally what we do is we replace intuition in the gut with judgment in the mind. And then instead of wanting or desiring or resonating with things here, we begin to want and need and desire up here. And this is where the World Wide Web, okay, if you want to know how Google is streamed all together, it's on the mental plane. We could call it the mental Akashic records. Now, that is the field of mental connection that is designed to stimulate and inform a collective society that is governed a specific way. Now, okay, Google just created their new command system and it's called Adreno. Okay, well, they've already had Chrome. You put those two words together and you look at the spelling of that. All right. Now that is how we are informed or not informed. Okay. Now there is another way for you to be informed or in resonance or in connection with all the information that is, because I know, unless you've been under a rock, you've heard of the quantum field. You've heard of the field of potential, right? So this is the real version of what the infinite information is that you can connect to that if you were connected to right now, you'd be scared of none of this. You'd see smoke and you would see mirrors. Okay. You would see that your separation was being triggered, but you weren't being triggered. You would see that anything that was happening was designed to basically create some sort of control mechanism to get everybody on the same page. Now, let's look at this as a non-duality. The fact that this is happening means that the other side of the video game that you're maybe playing against here is feeling threatened by your expansion and your enlightenment that's happening, right? Every negative is a shortcut. Spirit will say, okay, I will take your dark influence and I will raise you a new world out of it. So there's never, ever anything that you don't have power over unless there are parts of you that are in separation. Okay. So as I have been teaching these biohacking programs, it is basically to get you into your vessel, the house of God, so that you can create a stream that is that direct connect, the cosmic Wi-Fi versus the mental Wi-Fi. What are we doing? What should we do? What should we do? The water's poison, right? That puts you into fear. Fear is where you can be controlled. Now, why? Okay. If we were going to look at you as a being, you are electric and you are magnetic. Okay. Your thoughts are electric. Okay. Your feelings are magnetic. Now, let's think about a very scary thought that creates a feeling. Well, now you are electromagnetic source, okay, that is going to be easily manipulated because you're in a frequency called desperation. And this is what I'm always telling my clients. When you get into fear, do not act. Do not act. Because when you act in desperation, you are acting in starvation, hunger, separation, and basically all of your integrity and moral compass and intuition goes out the window, and you believe that you are intuitively excited about getting back with your ex, or you're intuitively excited about, trying to put a spell on someone so they will like you better. And you truly believe that that is your intuition because the other parts of your day, you're channeling spirit. Okay. You can channel spirit and be very ill in this body. I've seen it. Okay. I was that way for a long time. It's like, oh, well, as long as I'm channeling God or channeling source or channeling whatever that is high vibration, then I don't need to take care of this. And that was not the case. Okay. Not the case, because there's a rude awakening coming. That was 2021, 2022, started in 2020, actually started in 2012. Okay. So this idea of salvation right now is all about coming home. Not coming home to your soulmate that is over there that fills the void for you, not your codependency. Okay. But the home within you, the kingdom of heaven is within you. Even if you say this, language is spelling, and take a breath, remember who you are. This will create a sense of peace within you right now. All right. A lot of times we'll be like, this isn't real. This is virtual reality. But I truly believe that that is minimizing and hurting the inner child within you, because although it's not real, it still scares you. Okay, that's like telling your kid that's scared of the dark, just go to sleep. Monsters aren't real. Okay, right? So when you say, okay, hold on, the kingdom of God is within me. So all I need is my breath, and breath in every other language means spirit except English. Okay, why? So when you take your breath back, you are bringing the bigger part of your spirit into the body. This is why when you're scared, you shallow breathe. Okay, you're trying to hide. All right. So there's so many biohacking tips and tricks that I want to share with you over this series. And again, it's just like every time I make a list, 15 more come. So I'm going to do my best to educate you in what you can do from where you are with what you have, with what you know, because that's empowerment. It's not like, oh, you got to take this $10,000 course in order for you to raise your vibration. Absolutely not. Now, I will tell you that with this big reset coming, guys, and it's going to be different in different places of the world, because they're going to be where the different places of the world are more manipulated and controlled. They're going to decrease the population in those spaces first. And then what they're going to do is they're going to like basically go to digital banking. We know this is coming. All right. So what does that mean? Does that mean one day you're going to wake up with whatever, pirate booty doubloons they think you're worth? Or are you going to be vibrating your worth? This is going to be very, even if just so like, if the money is your only trigger right now, listen to me. Okay. Because right now, what you should be investing in, your 401k, your money that they tell you have, that they're investing in your behalf, all of these ideas of this commerce and this economy that you have been sitting in is literally a holographic experience to control your worth. Now, your worth, inner worth of the true self, is basically what creates the size of your magnet. Like how magnetic you are is how worthy you feel. Well, now you're like, oh my God, they're going to take the little money that I have. And what about my savings? And I'm going to tell you what to do, because this is an empowerment video. All right. Right now, with whatever you have, I don't care if it's a few nickels, and you're worried about them going into digital banking and taking everything, or giving you what they believe that you're worth, all right, with helping you, then what you should be doing is the way to be empowered with money right now, okay, is to invest in raising your vibration. That is all you should be spending money on. Instead of, oh, organic food is so expensive, that's going to raise my vibration. That is worth it. That is a good investment. Okay. If you don't have a mentor, that would be a good investment. Someone who can help you mirror consciousness, mirror your reality, so you can look at things from a place that you might be looking in separation. All right. This would be a great time to invest in getting the body more electric. All right. Bottled water, anything that is in the house of plastic, makes you less electric. All right. Bottled water, okay, boiled fluoridated tap water, it makes you like distilled, like it sucks everything out of you. Fluoride makes you sedative. Okay. So what can we do? We're like, oh my gosh, it's even the water that is supposed to be like super $8, right? If you test it. And again, I'm not testing like is it alkaline or acidic? I'm testing the electricity. There has not been one person who has come into my biohacking studio that I have put on my scale. I only look for 3 things when you come in. I'm looking at your visceral fat, I'm looking at your hydration level, and I'm looking at your cellular age. And the reason why is because I want to see the age of your cells. How old does your body think you are? It's usually 99% either exactly the same or way older. The most disturbing thing I have seen in my biohacking studio is the human body is 70% water, and I'm lucky if people coming in at 55. Why? Now, these are the people who come with a gallon of water every day, and they're like, that doesn't make sense. Well, what you're doing is you're drowning your body in non-electric water. Electric water speaks to its electric environment. It's inspired, it's inspirited. Okay. So when you're drinking yucky water, you are just basically, you are just drowning yourself. Okay. So one of the ways that you can right now, if you can't afford, a $6,000 Kegel machine or whatever it's called, you have to understand that you are vibration. And I don't care how low your vibration gets, you still are the universe. So I want you to, and this is huge empowerment here, is I want you to drop into your heart like mentally, okay, physically, emotionally. This is the magnetic part. And I want you to hold a vision of something you love absolutely unconditionally. It could be a place, it could be a person, it could be a dog, it could be nature, it could be a memory. As long as it's pure, it's not tainted with loss, it's not tainted with suffering, it's pure. You'll feel your heart get warm. Okay, that's your magnetic energy, right? Now, with your right and left hand, masculine, the hand of God, the feminine, the house of God, touch your water and intend, command, demand that the love that is in your heart, which is magnetic and electric, be moved into this water. Okay, this is not woo-woo, this is science. Nikola Tesla taught us that our vibration, our human torus, the heart alone could power cities for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. Now, if you have seen that movie Monsters, Inc., right, where they were torturing children to get their screams, all right, but then at the end of the movie, they realized that laughter was more powerful. This is what you need to realize, okay? Because the game understands this, that yes, adrenalized fear is the food of the other side of the game we're playing here. Adrenalized fear, separation, desperation, manipulation, humiliation, guilt, shame. What is taught in the old school churches? Oh, you should feel guilty. You should. You are a sinner. Okay. And so this keeps your vibration very low. Now, your cells, 75 trillion cells, are like, we're guilty. So how do you think they're going to behave in your body? They feel ashamed. How do you think they're going to behave in your body? They're humiliated. How do you think they're going to behave in your body? Well, go look in the mirror and look at your posture. Do you have a posture that is confidence, or are you hiding? Okay. Now, one thing that you're going to learn a lot in these coming times is about your human heart. That is, it's not of this world. It is literally the spark of source energy. It remains in non-duality, non-judgment. It does not have a gender identification with its all masculine and feminine. It is literally neutrality, your 0 point, okay? Your starting point and your life point. This is a place where you can go when you feel scared, when you feel alone. You do not have to think about something you love that's happening now. You can go back to a memory, because your brain is a pharmacy. Your brain will pull that memory and release the hormones and chemicals that align with that positive memory to shift you back into a neutral balancing point. The strongest force that you could be in right now is not a renegade of love, a pioneer of love. You're fighting against this story. Your strongest point would be neutral, unconditional love. That would be your strongest vibration in your heart right now, where you understand the game, you're not participating, where you are participating unconsciously, you're working to raise your vibration. All right. The universe rewards courage. It rewards your attention. It rewards when you take action in a positive way. Now, obviously, you get a lesson when you take action in desperation. Okay. When you settle, you're going to get less than you settled for. That's a universal law of resistance, law of attraction. Okay. If you do not know your 12 universal laws, that would be a good thing to have on your refrigerator to make sure that you are not bypassing the universal law to try to make your life work, because you are going to find yourself on one big hamster wheel that's going to come back to where you started. If you act in resistance, you're going to get resistance. If you act in love, you're going to get love. It's a mirror here. Although it feels like hell on earth, which the stage is set to, all right, then whatever you're in resonance of. Now, of course, you're like, okay, the chemtrails and the celebrities and the music industry and right, okay. Well, you have to participate in this to vibrate with it. Okay. It's like the old story is Dracula has to knock on your door and you have to let him in. All right. This idea goes for the game too, because you're in Earth, which is a free will zone. And if you haven't watched my second Sunday from February, I would highly recommend it so I don't have to go back and tell that story. But the idea is that you are in a free will zone. So everything is allowed here. Now we know that if you left a toddler alone in the house, everything would be allowed there. You come home and your skincare would be all over the place. Peanut butter would be places. Who knows what else? And that could come from just loneliness or curiosity, right? And so you have to understand when there's a debauchery allowed, then it's going to unfold. Now, as the light increases on the planet, photonic energy, right, is raising the vibration. We're also raising the dead. Okay, what goes up, right? So we are uprooting our own subconscious programs. You might be sitting in a lineage right now, in a bloodline, in a body that has been in deep slavery, or you could be sitting in a body right now that was playing on the other side of that. And you're going, well, that's not me. I have the Christ at heart, 100%. But at the same time, the original house you moved in is your job to renovate, neutralize, okay, raise the vibration of. You're here to end the generational trauma. You're here to end that bloodline's reign of suffering. Okay, you've got a big purpose here. So if you're like, my only purpose is to stop this bloodline and transition it back over to love, then if you sit in your house and, you know, play all day and do that, you would be fulfilling your own prophecy or your own destiny. Right? It's not about that best-selling book, because they teach us in this game that what you do is what creates your worth. But what your worth truly is how electric you are and how magnetic you are. Okay? Because when you are electric, you are influential. All right? When you are magnetizing, you're drawing forth that which resonates to the house of your God, if your definition of God, your spark, your source. Okay. So what creates worth is how magnetic and electric you can become. Now think about it. Thoughts are electric. Okay. They power. Electricity powers, empowers. So when you're having negative thoughts, they are being empowered. Okay, that means the cells, there's another like word in spelling, cells, gel cell, okay, like cells for memories, like think about it, guys. So you're empowering your cells with your electric thought. That is going to create a magnetic feeling. So when you have a thought that's negative and then a bad feeling and you're like, delete, 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 then that's like telling a child to shut up. Okay. And that's going to lower your vibration. So you want to pay attention. Okay, hold on a second. I'm having negative thoughts that are lowering my vibration. Okay. Where am I separate? That's what I want you to do. Be like, where am I separate? My body, soul here. Now, this is going to be some of your major work to raise your vibration, is to take stock of the reality that you have put yourself in. Okay. If you put yourself in here, you can change this, because with free will, I don't care what they tell you is allowed. I don't care what they tell you to drink or how to live or what to do. I don't care if they take your money away. You have free will vibration that could up your worth at any given time. And I will tell you that one of the ways the universe gets your attention is to fast you. Okay, you've heard it for thousands of years. When someone wanted to connect to spirit, they would fast. All right. Well, in our time and space, if you have asked to be in the new world, right, to ask to go to the 5D spaces, to the heaven on earth, the kingdom of head is within you, then you're probably being fasted in some areas. Fasted does not mean to go without. Fasted means to basically take everything away and let the system that is intuitively connected to source regulate back to its 0 point. So whenever we fast something, we fast heat, we fast nutrition, we fast toxic people, we fast money, we fast time, then although it appears as a negative, you have to look at that as a negative, and a negative will neutralize themselves, right? Or like they're just going to be like, and it's going to have you ask for the positive. Okay, it's going to have you asking into neutrality. Then when the positive, that's a true neutrality. So understanding that neutrality is where law of attraction and law of resistance are not responding to the vibration that is high or low. So our goal is to become neutral vibrators or in loving vibration, okay? Become the vibration of love. But I will tell you that that is a quantum leap, that if you're paying attention right now, you're not thinking about love from an unconditional place. You're thinking about love in your definition of loss. What is going to happen to my kids? What is happening to my money? All these things you think you love that are attached to loss is where you want to find your separation. Okay, so the fastest way to raise your vibration is to take stock of where you are separate from yourself. Pay attention. Where am I codependent? That's going to be 100% separation somewhere in your belief systems. Look at that word, belief. Okay, be the lie, state of being. I'm acting as an actor of my lie. I'm not aware that I have this belief system, and I'm acting as if it's my personality and my identity. This is why people get very defensive and very rejecting and will abandon you if you trigger their belief systems. All right. This happens a lot in the religious community. Like, they will judge you if you reject what they are believing, even though judgment is separation. All right. So when you look at unconditional love, it's love without conditions, right? That means regardless. Now, you may feel like you have this for your kids or your pets, like whatever they did, you would help them work through in a loving way. But a stranger, no, okay? Or that ugly, dark demon over there, absolutely not. I reject you, which is a way to come back to yourself. But ultimately, any sort of dark energy that you're perceiving is absent from love. So all negative behavior is a call for love. I would not say from a lack loving heart, you try to do this. When you get into the purity of your Christed heart, you will be able to do this, and you will know how. And that is when you come back to yourself. So think about spelling and language, about what I'm thinking, what I'm saying, what I'm hearing. Okay. Think about the resonance of your own body, the state of the residence you live in. Okay. Like, think about this, like the condition of your body. Are you flowing with energy? Do you feel electric? Are you magnetizing things to you? Or are you having to like run on a battery and like really work hard out there? Or you're constantly studying manifestation, or you're worrying a lot. This means no matter how spiritual you are, that your vibration in your resonance is low. And it's probably because whatever you're drinking or eating or who you're around or what you're thinking is making you less electric. And therefore, electricity, right? Well, I'm going to need a battery. Like, my remote control requires a battery because it's not plugged into source. So if you're feeling like you're battery operated, then your electricity input and output is very low, and it's going to come from toxic water, toxic food, toxic people, toxic thoughts, toxic environments. So how do you raise your vibration in that? Well, if you can't afford different food, if you cannot afford, to, like I said, go out and get a very expensive machine, well, remember that your heart, although may not feel electromagnetic right now, it is because you have built so many walls around its output that its stream is not as visible strength as you can, unless you go to the pharmacy and you have a memory that will ignite the heart space to open. And in that moment, You can charge food, you can charge your environment, you can send out the love you're feeling for your puppy dog or your baby, or a great memory. You can send it to your community, because ultimately you are scalar, universal chi energy at your base point. Okay. So if you come to our apothecary or our quantum fitness studios, we actually have scalar technology that we run and we have operating for blocks and blocks and blocks. You're welcome, right? These come in bigger forms, and in your behalf, these have been anchored all over the planet to hold space, to hold a vibration. So we're very grateful for the people and the scientists and the facilitators that have been in our behalf. Now you as electromagnetic being with this empathic, pure heart, regardless of what you've done or what you're doing, your heart remains pure. You too are scalar energy that is emitting a ripple effect in your area. This is why usually light workers are so far away from each other, or empaths live so far. Why would you live closer, right? We're holding this grid, and here you are thinking that you're unworthy because you don't have, pirate booty in your account, right? Oh, I don't have enough money, or I don't have these letters after my name. The education system, remember, information, they lack the true knowledge of how to be a spiritual being here and tap into the quantum field where you would never need to open a book again. Download the knowledge has been withheld from you, and the information that is given to you in school keeps you in formation. So wanting more letters after your name is coming from separation of you being able to access the quantum field. So when someone comes in to me and says, I would really love to work with you in the biohacking, but I'm not trained in this. I said, do you have a human heart? Then you have a PhD, you're hired. All right. And if that heart is pure, I say your only job to be a part of our biohacking studios or our apothecaries is to raise your vibration, because this isn't a place where we are giving and rescuing. We are holding the vibration. We are being the influence. We are walking our talk. Doesn't mean we're perfect. It's constant. In an environment where the wind is blowing constantly, we have to work on our vibrations. But when you know to be in the present moment, which is the presence, right? Then oh, my vibration is low because I'm having these negative thoughts, or I'm attracting these negative things, or someone attacked me here, or I'm really scared about what's happening out there. All you need to know is that is your measurement for how separated you are, okay? Now, going and taking physical action and changing your entire diet, okay, is not going to change your thinking. So what I say is that you want to start with where you are, with what you have, with what you know, with what you can do in this now moment, and then let that abundance start to come out of you so that you can afford the better food or learn how to garden. It is literally against the law to grow food in your front lawn, right? At least in America. And you don't technically own anything, because, if I pay off my house, then I still don't own anything here. But the one thing that you own, well, there's a few things you own, okay? You own your choice. You own your presence. You own your desire. You own your imagination. And when you get back home, you will own this house. This house is probably owned by someone else or something else. Look at your addictions. Look at what you are addicted to. That is your warden. That is your slave warden. Whatever you are a slave to owns that part of you, which means that you don't have access to that vibration until you come home to it. All right. The intervention is what 2020 was. It was a galactic intervention. All right. Even though it was like, a worldwide domination manipulation tactic, we, higher self, the universe, will always use every negative as its strategy to basically awaken. Because let's face it, you probably woke up from pain. You either woke up from love and then it switched to pain, and pain has been your bridge. It has been your courage. Suffering was an amazing tool for you to get you present, Because if I'm just like separated and all these things, and then these things are not happening outside of me, what's going to get my attention, right? You can break your world down and rebuild it for a whole lifetime and never grow. You can create problems and solve problems and never actually get ahead. Okay, you can power through all of your strong hormones in your 20s, 30s, and early 40s and think that you are growing, hit a glass ceiling, have no energy, and realize that you have nothing, no legacy. So you need to pay attention to where you are also in problem solution. It usually comes from an underlying vibrational infection. I don't mean the body necessarily, right? As above is below. So whatever is happening inside of you is going to be happening outside of you. There might be a lingering infection somewhere. Let's take the idea of an antibiotic, all right? So I get an infection and my first fear, oh shoot, I'm sick. So from a mental space, I'm going to go outside of me and I'm going to ask someone with minimal knowledge what I should do. And they're going to say, take this and you will feel better. Okay, so I'm going to take an antibiotic. And what that's going to do is it's going to micro compress my infection. Basically, instead of getting rid of it, it's going to bury it. It's going to shrink it like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. It's going to shrink it so tiny that it buries itself into the cell, okay, but it's still there. And it doesn't matter how big or small something is, it will hold the exact same vibration that it had when it was bigger, inflaming the body, but on a micro level. So now it's like a song playing in the back of my room that I'm so used to hearing that I don't hear. And it is now, instead of being gone, it is dormant, but it's still vibrating. So if you had this beautiful world, but you had this like weird monster that like lived on the other side of the bridge, you would all still be talking about it. So your cells are very aware that it's there. And then it's trying to work to keep your body in a high vibration so it won't rise up again. But let's say you get abandoned by your boyfriend, or you get rejected by your job, or your money runs out. Well, that vibration is the same in vibration that you create an infection that will rise it up again. But by now it knows, it's been learning your system and body, and now it will mutate into a different condition. I used to see this all the time in energy work. I would do an energy session, because I wasn't trained in the before and after effects of energy medicine, creating, it's like movie. It's like the pre and the post are just as important as the energy work. And before I wasn't doing that. So I would do the session and goodbye. They would go back into their infected environments and then come back next week. It wasn't in their back, but it was in their shoulder. And I'm going, huh? So it's mutating, but it's the same vibration. So ultimately you want to see yourself as a tuning fork. Okay. You are a vibrational energy source that is a tuning fork on its own, which means you're going to influence people around you. You're going to influence anything that's around you will attune to you. Whoever has the strongest vibration. And when you're in a density environment, okay, pure positive love that is not grounded in its own house is powerless, right? You could be the most loving person in the world. Your body is completely disconnected, eating processed sugar. And there could be a really negative person that's in their body and they hold a stronger vibration. All right. I know you've been around people that just made your skin crawl, probably because you weren't all the way home. All right. The strongest force in the universe is the embodiment of God, not God over here, not source like, hey, look over here. It's embodied. Now, vibrational alignment, like attracts like. So if I attract a negative person into my reality and I'm going, no, I'm loving and I'm caring. And I look at like, if I was going to break down their vibration, they want to separate the world. They want to separate me. I'm already separate. Like attracts like. Have you ever noticed that truly narcissistic people or very low vibration people are hypocritical. You're like, I'm watching you do exactly what you're blaming other people for. Well, if you attract that into your world, then you're hypocritical somewhere, which means you are separate. And that makes you feel scared. If you're truly in your own armor, if your higher self was in this body, your Taurus force field would not allow, it was bulletproof. You are bulletproof, you are illness proof, you are age proof, you are, thought proof. You're not going to get someone else's spells. You're not going to get put under a spell. Okay. So it is the embodiment of the Christed heart that makes you invincible. Invincible. So if all you do in 2023 is get in here, make peace, create a clean home that is flowing scalar chi energy to every cell. Okay. Think about a cell that is not getting oxygen. What is it going to crave? Energy. It's like, I need energy. Look at the places you are in lack. Look at what you are starving for. Look at what you are needing. Okay. Your cells cannot see outside of you. So they're going to think, hey, 911, we're starving in here. And you're going to go, I'm starving for connection. I'm starving for sugar. I'm starving for adventure. I'm starving for acceptance. I'm starving for something. And then you're going to find yourself addicted. This is this narcissistic empath relationship or the twin flame relationship. You have to take responsibility for where you are starving that attracted someone who that you have to become starving for, because that person will abandon and reject you over and over and over again to get you home. Right now, look at our collective. The game has improved as far as separation goes over the last, I would say 20, 30 years, because now women are becoming men and men are becoming women. And again, I have no judgment on if someone's like, oh, I was born in a woman's body or blah, 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 blah. As long as that's true in the deep part of their soul and not being influenced by social media. Okay, there's a difference between a soul spark and influence. All right, just because you're unhappy does not mean changing your gender works. But I will tell you that in nature, feminine energy will flip into masculine energy when she doesn't feel safe. And I'm sorry, if you are not fully embodied in the magnetism of your own worth, you probably don't feel safe here. And so how a man, when he doesn't feel safe, he is going against his own internal knowing, and that emasculates him. So he either will surrender to the passivity of the collective and become part of the problem, or he will isolate and become controlling instead of providing, protecting, fixing, building. If the feminine energy right now would get back into her magnetism and lead through soft vulnerability boundaries, and stop settling and stop chasing, then coherently that would inspire the masculine energy to move back into its empowerment movement and start protecting source energy and fixing this planet, right? It's like, why is there no gladiators? Why is there no like true warriors that are not part of an agenda? Because it's not allowed here, right? It's like the mafia. You start to try to build something, all of a sudden your cat's in an oven. And so masculinity is like damned if they do and damned if they don't. And so what they've done is they've moved into passivity. And because they're consuming so much plastic and they're consuming so much social resistance, then what they do is, what's the point? What's the point? So masculinity is residing in a frequency of depression, which is disappointment. Femininity is residing in a collective vibration of fear. Okay. And so then she is shifting. Well, I'll do it myself. Okay. This is the worst thing we could do for our vibration, is try to accomplish something outside of ourselves because we don't feel safe. If we don't feel safe, we need to get in the mothership, the body. You will not go to any of those timelines I talked about, the billions of parallel realities where life doesn't look like this, if you are not in your spacesuit, if you are not in your your temple, your house, your vehicle. Now, here's how you know if you are not in the body. All right. You forget you have a body. It hurts. Okay. You feel disconnected. Your posture is crap. All right. People are judging you, or you're judging other people. You cannot create a money flow. You are not seen and heard in relationships. Your job is not appreciating you, or you have no job. You are in scarcity and lack. Okay. You are in judgment of yourself. You are critical of yourself. You are holding on to the past in guilt, shame, humiliation. You are using the future to try to keep yourself safe, working more towards that. You are in hiding. You're in isolation. You are turning your volume down. You are not speaking your truth. You do not have boundaries. You are oversharing, or you are completely just like gone. Critical. You are pessimistic. You are arrogant and insecure in the same 2-minute structure. Better than that. I'm terrified. Okay. These are all symptoms. Now, this means nothing. This doesn't mean that this is who you are. These are all byproducts of separation. Now, the more the collective separates, the more the other side of this chess game. And again, I don't like to say dark or light, because again, dark has a trigger. So what I would actually rather you understand in raising your vibration is the idea of life and death. Death vibrates right at grief. Okay, death. It's not all the way detached from spirit, like a vegetable, like grief, like numbness. Okay, so death and life. Now, if you are starving your cells from electricity, which spectrum are your cells going to be vibrating on? Near death. Okay, so what are they going to need? What are they going to crave? What are they going to want? Life. Right? So the parts of you that have been your suppressed grief, the times you have not let yourself mourn, okay, the times that you are in deep like judgment and purgatory of self, are residing in the frequency of death. Now, the collective chess team that we are playing against here, or playing with, is resonating at a death point. So they resonate with death. They like it. They teach it. They promote it. They want you to see it. They want you to feel it. They want you to embody it. All right. Look at all of the celebrityism. Look at the ritualization. Look at like that kind of other conspiracy theories that I won't get into because they'll take my video down. Okay. But look at the idea of life and death. All right. And all you want is to live. But if parts of you are in a frequency of a death experience, like your cells, okay, or your relationships, are they dead? Okay. Are you literally just keeping them alive? Like, think about it. Like you love your grandpa, but he's literally residing at a death experience, but his soul hasn't moved away from his body all the way. And so you keep him alive with a chemical for 10, 20 years because you're not ready to let his body go. Okay. Look at the powers that be that run the collective simulation here in the same form. So vegetables that are using an IV to stay alive way longer than you do. But again, because it's a resonance of this death experience, then that is like that vacuum effect, like sucking all of that in, right? There's a reason why there's so much aberration and dysfunction in social media, because again, I'm a tuning fork. Okay. So whatever I vibe as, I create. If I am not a true tuning fork, electromagnetic energy being, then I am going to be influenced and adaptable to my environment, which is collectively, okay, dead. Now, here's the bonus. Fertilizer, right? What is fertilizer? It's dead energy, but it's full of nutrients, okay? And so what we want to do is we want to say challenge accepted, right? And understand that in my non-duality class, we don't talk about light or dark. We talk about death or life. And sometimes you need to pay attention around your life and look at what is dead or dying. And what you're trying to do in a desperate need to bring things back to life is you're trying harder. You're spending more. You're working more. You're doing more. And then that's depleting you more, because what you're actually doing is you're vibrating with death, okay, instead of life, right? Every dark satanic ritual on the planet is all about, it's about celebrating death, okay? It is all about the death experience, everything. It's all about humiliation. It's all about shame and guilt. It's all about resentment and hate. So you, light worker, empath, sensitive, indigo, whatever you want to call yourself, where are you vibrating that frequency? Now, here's how you know. Okay. Oh, I'm not doing rituals. I'm not doing any of that stuff. Are you judging it? Do you hate it? Do you want it dead? Do you want it gone? Do you want it out of here? Well, the part of you that does not see that as a call for love is vibrating the same frequency. Like attracts like. All right. So Jesus, or Christians in their true form before business was involved, would pray for and with that death experience instead of rejecting. Okay, rejection is a form of resistance. Resistance is a tuning fork that will bring something faster to you. All right, it will bring it faster to you. So whatever you're rejecting, you are actually saying yes to, because there's only yes in the universe. And so the death experience that is basically using fear to empower, okay, itself, at least to feel alive for a few minutes till the hit wears off and then they need more. Addiction, okay? Then when we reject it, then we are also highlighting the place inside of ourselves where we are rejecting ourselves instead of going towards that in love and literally illuminating that with our electromagnetic energy. So it's like that movie Monsters Inc. I can either laugh and love my way into healing this planet, or I can cry and scream and empower this virtual reality game. Now, the cool thing about this is when you raise your vibration, you will shift into a different timeline, into a different universe that is a match to your vibration. Okay, so you want to know what your wealth will be. It will be your vibration. Okay, your wealth is your vibration. So what are we investing in? Okay, because your money could go tomorrow. You might as well invest in this house. Fix your posture. Open up your heart chakra instead of sucking everything to you. Walking around like this is sucking everything in. You are getting absolutely no oxygen to your gut when your shoulders are in. And this is all designed, right? Ladies, those rigid hips, that womb and that yoni and that central sacral energy that has guilt and shame in it, raise the vibration of that. Masculinity, raise the vibration in what you can provide for this planet, your strength of your body. The more you move, the more testosterone you make, okay? Get away from toxic relationships that are hurting you, okay? And get back to nature, right? Invest in ways to becoming a sovereign, divine, masculine energy, right? Use your breath, meditation, prayer, but not from a place of lack, but from a place of gratitude, right? I'd resonate with abundance. Thank you. I'd resonate with the solution to this problem. Thank you. I resonate with this new home. I'd resonate with more money. I'd resonate, okay? But remember, also saying things out loud is you're casting a spell, but you are the creator here. So watching what you say, watching what you do, look at what you're eating that is robbing your electricity. Final thought, obviously I have hours and hours and hours more of this, okay? Final thought is that when your electricity is low in your body and you are having cravings and pain and things like that, you also have too much heavy metal and too many parasites. Parasites hide in heavy metal. The immunity is like the immune system can't see the parasites when they hide in the metal. So get your kids on a heavy metal cleanse and a parasite cleanse, all right? And like if you want to really help them, but your finances are low, look for electromagnetic energy products like fruits and vegetables. And if that's too expensive, figure out how to grow them or find a local farmer and barter. Hello, right? And figure it out, because this is going to be really good for our vibration. We want to look at the house vibration, right? We want to look at the mind vibration. We want to look at how much our higher self is in this body. Are we driving or the ego's driving? And how the more your soul is in your body, the less judgmental you're. The more your soul is in your body, the more you're going to understand this as a game, and you're going to get really strategic. You're going to have intuition in your gut. You're going to have a plethora of serotonin that's going to make you feel naturally safe. Okay, you're going to have an abundance of melatonin so you can get into those deep sleeps and get your body attuned for the next day. All right. So I'm not asking you to go out and like doomsday this. I'm asking you to get home, right? Turn your lights on, right? How easy is it to rob a house if the lights are off and no one's ever there? Easy taking, okay? Turn your lights on inside. Become electromagnetic, right? You got squatters in there. You got things that are just, you don't even know they're there. And the more uncomfortable your house feels, the more you don't want to be in it. Think about the metaphor where you live right now. All right. Is your home uncomfortable? Are the people inside of your home uncomfortable? Does it make you want to not be there? This is a metaphor. As above is below. You are the microcosm of your virtual reality, the simulation that you have bought into. The reason why collectively we all feel like we're in this same story is because separation was taught to you, very deeply ingrained, indoctrinated into your body. By the time you were 7, you went, I got to go along with what I got to go along with. So that part of you has been going along with this storyline, regardless if you disagreed, okay? And maybe when you woke up, you were like, oh my gosh, you saw this. This has been going on for hundreds of thousands of years here. This is not new. The reason why we're seeing it, number one, social information. Number two, the more photonic energy, the more illumination, and the more we're able to see in plain daylight what has been going on in the shadows for thousands and thousands of years. And so if you feel shocked by what you're seeing, then you want to say, well, where am I acting like that in here? Where am I addictive and starving? And where am I torturing myself? Where am I sacrificing myself? Where am I punishing my inner child? Where am I siphoning my own life force energy for something else? You're either part of the problem or you're part of the solution. And this is how to raise your vibration in the idea of this. When you are here, when you are loving this, your worth expands, and you will be able to quantum leap into any desired resonate. Where do you want to live? Okay. Well, what you are living here will be what you live here. So this should be your entire investment. Okay. This is not selfish. This is not self-focused, because if you can get inside of there and raise your vibration, you will educate, empower, and inform all those around you of how to do it energetically, subconsciously. Okay. So raise your vibration. Get your subconscious mind conscious. That means you've got to be present. You've got to be watching your own behavior. Utilize every outside experience to help you raise your vibration, but not to check out. Okay. So scalar energy, biofeedback technologies, meditation devices. If you can't get in here, if you're overthinking, if you've got overthinking, anxiety, depression, you're going to have to use willpower to try to get yourself here, and it's not going to work for long. You can use a manual override. You can use a therapist. You can use a life coach. something that might see your blind spots in a loving way to help you vibrate back into. So put yourself around very vibrational things, all right? Salt baths, baking soda, distilled water, right? These are all things that are very cheap that can get your body back into an alkaline space. Think about it. When you speak acidically, right? If you're alkaline, if you're flowing, if your flora and fauna is working, think of a river versus a stale pond, okay? So you are going to vibrate what you are. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. So the higher vibration you become, the different reality that you will start to see, and it will feel like the path of least resistance. It will feel very organic, and depending on how many walls you have chopped down around your heart, the people and places and things that you love unconditionally will somehow be with you. All right. So this is just the first part. I have so much more. If you are in Kansas City and you would like to come through some of our biohacking, raising the vibration treatments that we have, or you're like, I can't get there, we can do all of this virtually because energy does not need to be next to each other, right? Energy is just about finding the signature of the frequency and tapping in. So anywhere you are, anywhere, anything that you've got, we can work with you. If you can get here or to one of our other biohacking seminars, we're starting to create a community that will remind each other how to do this effectively, efficiently, so that you can stop paying attention to the problem and you can become the solution. All right. So look me up. I got Quantum Fitness, KansasCity.com, the Alchemist Apothecary, KansasCity.com. I've got Quantum Fitness Global. I've got Jessica Ahlstrom. I'm all over YouTube. If you're hearing this for the first time and you want to know more about alchemizing vibration through basically becoming electromagnetic, I've got all kinds of workshops. I've got a Divine Feminine one coming right now. That's happening right now. It's not too late to join. I have my non-duality masterclass, but I am working on creating a very tight community for us all to lean in and on each other, act as accountability to remind in a loving way of how to raise our vibration right now. I will be having free classes, free seminars, as much as I possibly can to assist those who have asked. When you ask, it's given. And if you're asking and it's not being given, you're probably being fasted in something. Pay attention to where you're being fasted. That's where you had a lower separated vibration, probably because of trauma or some sort of locked infection that is blocking your ability to reconnect. Okay. So it's not scary. It's awesome. All right. So think about all you have to do is raise your vibration and follow us, subscribe if you like what you heard. If you want to share this, go ahead. I don't know how long the video will be, depends, right? It depends on my vibration, I guess. And I will be continuing to do more how to raise your vibration videos along with other things. Until then, take care of your house, get into your house, reclaim your house, rebuild your house, love your house, because you do own this. You own the choices you make with it, and you basically choose how wealthy you are here. And how wealthy you are here is going to be what you manifest when the reset happens. All right? Okay, guys, we're all in this together, and it's all really just a little quantum leap back home. See you soon.